raining, then it was sunny again. We've seen about 6 different types of weather so far.
Yeah, all we need is a bit of snow, and that'll be the whole year done. I know. This been a strange. Has been a strange summer this year, hasn't it? I mean,
sleep when I'm over. There's not much that I missed in America, but I do miss the sleep.
Yeah, because you live out in the States now, don't you?
Yes, I've been in California now for about 30 years, so I'm a dude, really.
Yeah.
Get the accent, they like the accent over there.
I know, they do, don't they? It's a lovely part of the world. I've been out there a few times, and they love it. Now, you're playing, I mean, let's talk about the beat that, you started off in Birmingham around 1978 yourself, Rankin Roger, and a few other members of the band.
Yep.
How did you sort of get into the music business?
Well, I'd been writing songs as a kid and everything, and about 1976, going into 77, and punk was all around, and me and Andy were playing songs on our guitar that we'd been writing, and people started saying, "Oh, that's really good, you should do a group, you should." Well, we thought they were joking to start with, but so we started doing rehearsals, and friends came to rehearsals, and they said, "No, that's really good, you should do a concert." So it just moved on like that. We were never quite certain of ourselves until the first show, and then people said it was fantastic, so that was it then.
Yeah, I mean...
we did our first show in March of 78, and met Jerry Dammers from the Specials that summer, and we brought out a single in October, and it was number 6 on Christmas, Top of the Pops, and our friends either absolutely adored us or loathed us, depended.
And that was Tears of a Clown, the old Smokey Robinson hit.
That's right, yeah. It made a good song for Christmas as a party song. Everybody
did.
Knew,
It's a cracking version. Yours is a great version, his is a great version. Beautifully written song, great song. And but the ska thing, suddenly, I mean, I'm old enough to remember the ska thing, and it was the Specials, the Beat, Selector, they were all there, and I suppose Madness to a certain were there, and suddenly it all exploded.
Yep.
And it was something really fresh because of you'd had the punk, you'd had and then just before that, just after that, we got the New Romantics, didn't we? And it was something very, 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 very different, wasn't it? It was. I don't. Any idea why?
We were very lucky.
Yeah.
I think we were very lucky coming off the back end of punk because all the rules had been broken and all the buildings pulled down, and in the dust that was in the air, you could get away with quite a lot of stuff so long as people were dancing and you've got a room full of people. Record companies were very keen to talk to you because they didn't want to miss out like they felt they'd missed out on so many of the punk bands going enormous without them noticing. And so it was very useful in a way. It was a nice artistic time. I mean, for example, we had Stand Down Margaret on the first record. Nobody from the record company ever questioned us about lyrics or, attitude on the songs. There was nothing like that. Yeah. I think it wasn't too many years later until that started to become an issue again. But just in that little, what they call the post-punk period, historically, post-punk just before New Wave, there was ever such a lot of artistic freedom that you could abuse if you wanted to.
I mean, yeah. I'm going to ask you this now. Did you really detest Mrs. Thatcher?
No, Stand Down was as much, I think, to try and get off your soapbox and stop pretending that you're better than everybody else,
It wasn't a case of, disappear out.
We knew she was a clever person from Nottingham, but we didn't believe that she was from the royal family, or she more or less ended up. More than anything else, I think we didn't believe that trickle-down economics worked. And history has proved that to be correct. It didn't work. It didn't work in America with Ronald Reagan. It didn't work over here. The only trickle-down that happened in England was all the money went south, didn't it? So I didn't want to take the mickey out of some people. I didn't detest her, but I thought her policies were cruel and short-sighted. I think historically that will be accurate.
I think without getting ourselves in too much trouble or getting me in too much trouble, I think she went a little bit too far with everything.
I think so. I mean, I don't know that she necessarily meant harm. I think she thought she was giving the tough medicine that was required. But sadly, it cost a generation of plans up north. For a lot of people.
Indeed so.
And we go do concerts there now, and people still talk about it. So
yeah,
it does seem that further you get up the country, the roar of the wounds remain, you know. However...
never mind.
We probably did it. It's a hard job, you know what I mean? People ask me to sing Stand Down David there. I don't have the heart to do it because
well,
Aston Villa fan. Being an Aston Villa fan is a much harder job than being Prime Minister, so I can't do anything.
Really? I'm one of those London clubs, the one that always is about third place, the one that begins with T, so we won't go into that one. So why you're hugely popular in America and hugely popular or were hugely popular in Australia? Any reason why you think that you particularly as a band were hugely popular in those countries?
Well, I think it was quite a universal message at the time that it was better for people to try and get on despite their differences rather than make an issue of them. And we tried to sing about stuff that was going on that could be a little bit bleak or challenging, but we'd like to try and put it to a happier, uplifting backing track of music so that you've got a fair representation of life, really. You know, we're never just happy or just sad. Most of us are a delicate balance of the two that changes during the day. So we wanted to try and get a music that could be happy and sad at the same time. You know? And I think that's how it connected. And to be honest, I mean, I'm stunned that I even remember the words to the songs this long ago. the first 4 shows we've done, we've had the whole crowd singing along to certain songs, every word. And, I mean, that just is amazing to me. And as a songwriter or a troubadour, I suppose that's about the greatest compliment that anybody could ever pay you, you know.
Yeah, and
the words must have meant something and they connected and touched at the time.
Yeah, and a lot of the artists always say it's great to record the songs, but there's nothing better than singing it, you know, live to people. You get the instant reaction, whether it's a new song, an old song, a classic.
Yes.
And you know, they're there in front of you, right in front of you. You get the instant reaction, and it's fabulous. You know, a lot of artists say that, and I think that's very true. Actually, I do a bit of stage work myself. I'm not a singer and everything else, but
I think it is.
Sorry?
It is the best of feelings because you really want, you know, your aim is you'd really like your songs to connect, and you can tell. Right there and then in the moment. You have to stay in the moment when you're on stage to catch everything. And it's kind of like surfing. Once you're up there, then you just can read the signs. And I do find that the most exciting part. It's certainly more exciting than the studio. You have to work harder in the studio to generate that sort of sense of being in the moment.
Yeah. Are you writing new stuff and performing new stuff with the special with the beat?
Yes, we've got the new album halfway done, probably more than halfway done now, and we'll go back and do some more work on it in October when we get back off this tour, and we'll either finish it up then or I'm having a sinking feeling it might be mixed in January now. It'll come out in March or April, and we've been rehearsing the songs up hard, and we play a couple out live at some of the shows.
Yeah.
You want to be careful, you know, people have come with a list of songs that they're insisting on hearing, and you've only got a couple of hours, so we can try and stick a couple of new ones in at the moment, seems right.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you listening today who are too young to remember the beat, I mean, the hits you had, Can't Get Used to Using You, obviously did we mention Tears of a Clown, my favourite, Mirror in the Bathroom, Hands Off, She's Mine, Best Friend, Too Nice to Talk To, the list is endless really, isn't it?
Yeah, we do all them in the session.
You do.
And you're right, Can't Get Used to Losing You and Too Nice to Talk To seem to go down incredibly well.
Really?
Everybody knows the words to Can't Get Used to Losing You. Now, I was going to say something from stage last night because it went down beautifully. I dedicated the song to Rico, the trombonist, for the specials who passed a week ago. And everybody sang the song at full voice and seemed to really enjoy themselves. And I was ever so tempted to say, well, if we all like this song so much, does it mean that our mum and dad was right? That their songs were better and ours was a load of rubbish?
Well, I mean, who knows? We're saying nothing else. I mean...
I didn't ask him at the time.
I mean, away from the music business, you say you live in California. What's the reason you went over to live over there?
I went over initially to make a record, and I'd been there about 6 months a year during the 80s on tour, and I really liked the place. And to be honest, I think, in retrospect, I was enjoying the fact that I was still really famous in America, whereas my 15 minutes was starting to dim a little bit. So I think I was lured by the sunshine, the international supermodels from around the world desperately trying to get into the entertainment business, and the fact that I could go into the supermarket in the morning and people would go, "Oh my God!" You know,
yeah,
kind of that is a nice way to start the day.
It is a nice way. Does that still happen?
Yes, it does. Although they call me Mr. Wakeling now.
Oh, do they?
Look over the shoulder to my dad.
They are very respectful out in America with like famous people, aren't they? They're very respectful. I've noticed that. You know, when I've been out there. Not that I'm saying I'm famous, but I've met famous people out there, and the Americans are very, very respectful and very humble, almost, aren't they?
Yes, I mean, I think there's that many of them around there. I mean, I saw Steven Spielberg at breakfast, and you do see them out and about, and the really famous ones do try and live regular lives as well. And those that they still stay a part of the community, people give them a bit of space, you know, and treat them pretty respectfully. They don't bother them too much, which is nice. There's much of it I like about America, you know. I know it's a new place and finding its feet in some ways, but it's a really great social experiment, and the people there are very tolerant of each other. You know, surprisingly, I know it doesn't have a very tolerant reputation from the TV perhaps, but you'd be amazed, well, you've seen it yourself, how so many different types of people can all get on more or less and get the job done. Even if it's only that everybody's got to make $1 today.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
In the way of that.
Yeah. The thing that
I kind of like it. I enjoy that melting pot part of the country.
Yeah, the thing I always find amusing with Americans, they all think we live like Downton Abbey in Britain, and they all think we've had tea with the Queen. And I find that really amusing. Now, almost out of time, Dave. I've got. Let's just mention where people can see you. It's at Crawford Arms in Milton Keynes. It's this Friday the 25th of September. And you're going to be doing all the classic songs and a couple of tracks from the new album.
That's right. If you want to jump up on stage, you can introduce us and pick your song to sing with us.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for today, Dave. It's been an absolute pleasure. There we are. Big thank you today to Dave Wakeling of The Beat, and also Frank Allen, and of The Searchers, who we heard from earlier on. Next week on the show, I'll have a gentleman who is the man behind the Billy Joel songbook. His name is Elio Pace. He'll be joining me on the show next week. Until next week, have a safe 7 days. And for me, Terry Sullivan, it's bye for now. I'll leave you with a little bit of this from The Beat.
MK Pulse proudly sponsors Seclo Sounds. MK Pulse is Milton Keynes' local magazine, bringing helpful information on food, health, fashion, money, travel, culture and much more to 84,000 people every month. Plus news, views and what's on from around the city. If it's happening in Milton Keynes, it's in MK Pulse, and it's available online at www.mkpulse.co.uk. MK Pulse and Seklo Sounds, the heart and soul of the city.